First things first, Max Verstappen. Once again he was unstoppable. He controlled the race from start to finish and took home yet another win. The gap to second place Lando Norris was 20 seconds. That shows how dominant he was throughout the race. The real drama was about McLaren and a slow pit stop for Lando Norris. So, going into the final stage, things were looking stable for McLaren. Lando Norris was in second place, right behind Max Verstappen, and Oscar Piastri was in third, followed by Charles Leclerc. Now, the problem with McLaren was, with only 8 laps left behind, they hadn't pitted either of their drivers. McLaren waited till last to see if there is any safety car or red flag, which would have gained them some extra time on that pit lane. Now here's where the strategy played a huge role. Normally, the lead car, in this case Lando Norris, that gets a pit stop priority. But McLaren sent Oscar Piastri first. Why? To cover off Charles Leclerc. McLaren over the radio asked Lando Norris if it is okay to pit Oscar Piastri first to cover off Charles Leclerc. To which Lando Norris agreed. But he said as long as he doesn't undercut. I think here's Lando Norris actually played the team game. So on lap 45, Oscar Piastri came in and he had a clean pit stop of 1.9 seconds. 1 lap later, it was Lando Norris' turn. But this is where everything went wrong. A problem with the front left tire cost McLaren precious seconds. The pit stop that could have been around 2 seconds, it went up to 5.9 seconds. That delay was brutal. By the time Norris exited the pits, Oscar had already swept past. The orders were flipped now. Piastri was P2, Norris was P3, and all thanks to that one slow pit stop. And then came the late drama. McLaren jumped over the radio and asked Oscar to let Lando through. To which Oscar replied that a slow pit stop is part of race, so what really changed here? But after some hesitation, he moved aside on lap 49, giving place back to Lando Norris. It was clear case of team orders. The reason, according to McLaren, Norris had been running ahead all the race and slow stop wasn't his fault. But if that overtake had only happened because of that undercut, then giving the position back would have been absolutely fair. But in this case, it wasn't just a strategy. It was a racing incident caused by a slow pit stop. Of course, if Piastri had faced Norris' bad luck and stopped first, Charles Leclerc probably would have passed him for the last podium spot. But that just pure bad luck, and honestly McLaren couldn't have predicted that at all. Also, I think it would have been interesting to see what Piastri would have done if he hadn't gained a big advantage from his teammates' car problem at the Dutch Grand Prix. The points gap that could have been 37 is now 31. If the gap was smaller, giving up those 3 extra points would have been much tougher and could have been really important. And here's something interesting. After the race, Max was asked about this whole scenario, whether a driver should give position back in such a case, and his answer was clear: I wouldn't have given the position back. Oscar Piastri did eventually give the position back to Lando. But what do you think? Should Oscar have given the position back or not? As they both are fighting for that championship.